Hey guys, it's Reynad back with what, in my opinion, is the best deck in the game right now. It's going to be a deck tech on what I call Zoo. It's an aggressive Warlock deck, but it's not Murloc oriented. It just plays cards that are very good on their own, and it's a board control deck. It's not about suicidal aggression. This is why I'm not playing cards like Leroy or Power Overwhelming. I'm not trying to burn my opponent out. It's all about controlling the board, killing all of your opponent's stuff, just like a Druid deck or a Shaman control deck would. Just like Warrior Control would. You're just doing it with cheap aggressive creatures instead to get an early lead on board and then snowball that into a win. So this is a deck where I do own every card in the game. Like I could put Leroy in, I could put Black Knight in, I could play any card I want, and I'm choosing to play no epics, no legendaries. I think this is the best build of it. These are the best cards you can be playing, in my opinion. The two Mortal Coils I go back and forth on. Sometimes I play like one Pit Lord, sometimes I play a Yeti. It's a lot of different things you can play in that slot, maybe Black Knight, but I am a fan of 2 Mortal Coil most of the time, and this is the list I would play. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's go through it like card by card and kind of explain why things are in there. You know, Soulfire, you see it in most Warlock lists. It's just a very broken card. You know, you 2-for-1 yourself, but it gets you a huge tempo lead. You should never play a Warlock deck without 2 of it. Mortal Coil is a more interesting one. It's like in a board control deck where I care about killing all their stuff. What's most important is the early game, and turns 1 through 3, this is going to kill, you know, like Harvest Golem tokens that are left over on their side of the field. You can attack your 2-power creature into their creature with 3 health, finish it off. There's a lot of situations where Mortal Coil comes up and it just helps control the board early, so I think two of it is basically like the right number. Past that, we move on to the 1-drops, which I play 10 of, so a full third of the deck is 1-mana creatures, and actually 14 of the 30 cards cost 1 or less. But anyway, yeah, the 10 creatures I choose to play are the ones that are most resilient, the best at protecting your higher end threats, and the ones that synergize the best together. So the common ones you'll see are Flame Imp, Voidwalker. Those are in most decks. Young Priestess too. You know, just really effective early game creatures for snowballing those leads. Argent Squire, of course, is just fantastic in every deck, whether you have buff effects like Shattered Sun or Defender of Argus, or even if you don't. It's just a very effective creature because the way that any good deck in Hearthstone is built is around the concept of play an animal and get it to stick. Because if you can get a creature to stick because the aggressor dictates what attacks what, you basically just snowball leads early, or, you know, as soon as you get a lead early. It's very easy to snowball. So anyway, Argent Squire is good at that. You know, he sticks around. Flame Imp, again, 2-ass, so it doesn't die to hero powers, and it's just really powerful card. Anyway, Shield Bearer is the one that should require most explaining. The reason that I like Shield Bearer so much is because it's basically like Voidwalker. The same reason you play Voidwalker, it's the same reason you play Shield Bearer. It protects your other creatures from hero powers. It gives you 4 copies of Voidwalker, and it synergizes really well with like Direwolf Alpha, Shattered Sun Cleric, and Defender of Argus. Once you give it power, you're getting a ton of stats for 1 mana, a lot of board control. Like I said, it's about getting control of the board and snowballing that. So if you having a Shield Bearer lets you play out cards like Young Priestess against Druid or Rogue without fear of getting it killed. It also helps you, like in the situations where you are going at the face later in the game because you already have a lead. You play Voidwalker for 1 mana. All of a sudden, that's like 4 damage that's being not directed to your other creatures. The cost of 1 mana. This deck does not care about card advantage or disadvantage. It's 100% about tempo, and Shield Bearer is a really fantastic card for that. That was like the last innovation in the deck that really pushed it over the top and made me think it's the best deck. Like once I played with this enough, like yeah, this deck's phenomenal. Anyway, Direwolf Alpha and Juggler are the 2 drops of choice. Direwolf Alpha represents 4 power for 2 mana, so it's the most efficient like damage per mana card that you can play. And it's also better in the later stages of the game on turn 3 or 4 compared to something like Fairy Dragon or Amani Berserker. I think this is much better than those cards. It also synergizes really well once you're playing Shield Bearer. You know, you play Shield Bearer on turn 1, you play Direwolf on turn 2. That's a 1/4. Like it's better than Voidwalker. It's, you know, killing something as opposed to trading with, you know, whatever, like Fairy Dragon. Anyway, Juggler, pretty standard. I have a lot of cheap creatures, really powerful 2-drop. I want another one, and he's just clearly the best option. Now, I do play the full 6 3-drops. They're all very resilient. They're all good for snowballing leads. They're all good for board control. None of them die to a single removal spell without providing you some amount of value. I do think the full 6 is the right amount. You should never keep a 3-drop in your opening hand because you're almost guaranteed to have one. And even if you don't have a 3-drop, you'll probably have a 2 plus a 1 or triple 1. But yeah, it's kind of matchup dependent. I keep Knife Juggler in every matchup except in Hunter I don't. Sometimes I want to keep Mortal Coil, except if I'm against Druid I won't. Depending on what other cards are in my hand. Whenever you decide what cards to keep in the beginning of a game, I want you to go through your first few turns and try to think through how you're going to spend your mana on your first few turns. If you're going first, you have a card that costs 1 and then 2 cards that cost 2, you should put back one of the cards that cost 2, because on turn 3, you want to use all 3 of your mana, not just 2. You always want to maximize your mana in Hearthstone. Defender of Argus, most broken neutral card. If I play a lot of cheap creatures, I'm always going to have 2 targets for it. Just a phenomenal card in the deck. And then Doomguard and Argent Commander are the creatures that top off the curve. Don't be afraid of playing Doomguard on turn 5 and just pitching 2 cards from your hand. It's really not about card advantage or disadvantage. The reason we're playing Warlock is because not only do we get all these 1-drops, not only do we get Soulfire, Mortal Coil, but this card's like broken as hell. I can't believe it's still legal. Like, it's just massive. But mostly we're playing Warlock because of the hero power. So you're allowed to play cards like Doomguard. You can play cards like... You can play so many 1-drops and just empty your hand and not have to worry about card disadvantage. Like, you don't need to play for value card-wise. 2 for 1 yourself if it puts you on board, ahead on board this turn. And of course, try to play around cards like Swipe the best that you can most of the time. And yeah, Argent Commander, pretty much a worse Doomguard. In some matchups, like against Warrior Control, I like to hold off on playing Doomguard on turn 5 if I have both of these in hand. And I'll play Commander first and then Doomguard afterwards on turn 7, because that'll let me get both of the big threats out. And that Warrior Control tends to be a slower deck. They give you time to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of a quick run through of the deck. I highly recommend trying this out on ladder. It's very, very cheap, not a single epic or legendary. A lot of people ask me how I would update my Warrior Aggro deck, for example. I think that deck is good, but just build this instead. This deck is insane, and you should already have Argent Commanders in the Warrior deck, and all you should really have to craft are Doomguards, and you really shouldn't have to craft Defender. You should definitely own that card. It's like the best neutral in the game. So, but yeah, good luck, guys. I hope you try this out on ladder. I hope it works out for you, and I'll see you next time with the next deck tech.